Hi guys, welcome to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Earnings Express with me, Nandita Khemka. Well, it's a beautiful Saturday, rainy morning here in Mumbai. And in case you're wondering what we are doing here this early, yesterday we had the Reliance Industries reporting its first quarter performance, and we are here to break down the numbers for you. And for that, let me introduce to you my colleague Rachita Prasad, who will be putting into perspective how the performance really has turned out for Reliance Industries in this quarter. Hi, Rachita. Good morning. How are you doing? It's a rainy morning here in Mumbai.
Hi Nandita, good morning and raining numbers as well.
Yeah, okay, that's correct. Well, let's talk about Reliance Industries. Rachita, how has the overall quarterly performance turned out for Reliance this time around?
So the first quarter for the fiscal, the general expectation was that the net profits may see a decline. You have to understand that the context here is that their biggest business is the O2C business, which is the oils to chemical business, and it pretty much tracks the crude prices. And in this quarter, if you compare a year on year wise, it has seen a steep decline. So, in terms of the quarterly performance, net profit is around 18,000 crores, and net profit, which is attributable to owners, is around 16,000 odd crores, which is slightly lower than what the street was expecting. Net profit has declined by 6%, and if you see the revenue, that also has been it's rather flat. And the interesting thing is that the consumer facing businesses have done very well in this quarter. But of course, the oil being a dampener, the O2C business has been a drag.
Right. You mentioned crude prices. Of course, we know that crude is hovering below that $80 mark. It had seen a sharp fall in the quarter gone by. So, tell us in details how the O2C business has fared in this light.
So, Nandita, if you look at crude prices, the $80 mark that you're talking about, that is actually what has happened in the second quarter of the fiscal. The first quarter was rather weak. And if you look at the same quarter a year ago, crude prices were really high. And that has actually, it was even the management from Reliance was talking about how the margins in the same quarter last year were exceptionally high. So in comparison, of course, this quarter has been rather weak, and the O2C business includes their petrochemicals business, the refining business. Reliance doesn't specifically give the GRMs, the gross refining margin, for the quarter, but the general understanding is that it would be tracking the Singapore GRMs, which have actually fallen, around 50%. So it has been a weak quarter to that extent. And even in terms of polyester, the management was talking about how subdued demand from China kind of impacted it. So overall, for the O2C business, clearly this has not been a very strong quarter.
Right, before I delve into the consumer side of the business, which of course, has done extremely well, just like last quarter, let me also ask you about the energy business. What really has happened there? Has it been as weak as the O2C business, or has there been some bit of an improvement there?
So when you talk about energy business, I'm guessing you're referring to the oil and gas business, which is
That's
basically
correct.
where Reliance has all its exploration and production activities going on. That has been a good business. I mean, that has performed well in this quarter, given the volumes have increased and also the realization has been quite strong in this quarter. Mind you, they have commenced production from their MG blocks, which has kind of helped this business as well. So all in all, a strong quarter for the oil and gas business.
All right, let's now talk about Jio. Of course, the subscriber additions have been healthy, but what about the average revenues per user? Has there been a good pickup there as well?
So when you're looking at Geo, let's first talk about Geo platform, which is basically the subsidiary which houses Jio Infocomm. So Jio platform, if you look at their financial metrics, they have done well across all metrics. So that's an interesting thing to track. Within Jio platform, if you look at Jio Infocomm's business, again a strong quarter there. In terms of, profits have gone up, and if you look at their average revenue per user, the popularly called ARPU, that has gone up 3%. The interesting thing here is the management was talking about Geo 5G rollout and how they are really on track, and they even said that we are going to roll it out at the fastest pace possible. So that would be an interesting thing to watch out for. In the quarter, if you look at the subscriber addition, it was around 9.2 million, which is quite strong. So a good quarter for Geo as well.
Right, good quarter for Jio. But let's talk about retail. Of course, they've made some fast-paced store additions. In fact, footfalls, if I'm not mistaken, have been at record levels in the last quarter. Give us some color on how retail has shaped up over the last quarter. In fact, I think over the last few quarters, retail has been doing extremely well.
Yeah, retail has been doing rather well, and you could sense that from the management commentary. I mean, just to put things in perspective, that the sheer amount of time they are spending now to talk about retail every quarter is interesting. So that tells you that it's a growth area for them. Retail, whether you talk about the profits or the revenue, both registered double-digit growth, and in terms of the physical formats, like you said, the footfalls were at record highs. And in terms of their digital and new commerce platforms, that has grown by about 18%. So robust growth on that account as well.
Right. Now, I want to talk about Geo Financial Services. Of course, last week we saw Geo Financial Services demerge from Reliance Industries on the bourses. But would there be a lot of disappointment given the fact that the management hasn't really given a lot of color on this end of the business?
Yeah, Geo Financials. I mean, this is the NBFC that
Hmm.
Reliance is culling out of the entire conglomerate, and that is, of course, it's generated a lot of interest. The one thing that they did mention yesterday after the results was that the demerger is on track, and as for expectations of any solid announcement on that, I think part of the market might have expected something to come, but traditionally most of the big bang announcement from Reliance actually come in their annual general meet, which should happen sometime later this month. They have not announced the date yet. In fact, last year, Mukesh Ambani addressed shareholders at the AGM, and he told them that he would share an update on possible IPOs of Geo and retail in the next AGM. So whether it's IPO or whether it's Geo Financial, possibly the big announcements might come in the AGM. We'll have to wait and watch when that happens.
Right, I'm sure the street is waiting with bated breath as to know when Geo and retail will actually list on the bourses. We'll of course be watching out for that in the AGM. That conversation is for another day. But before I move on to the future outlook, give us some color on the media business. Some bit of weakness there as well.
So, media business, if you look at the revenues, they are at record highs, and the net profit actually has declined a bit. The interesting thing that the management spoke about is Geo Cinemas. They're quite upbeat about it, and the response apparently has been quite strong in that. So, that will be something to watch out for, because they were talking about the ad revenues in that platform, and that has been quite strong in the quarter. So, let's see how that pans out.
Well, of course, we'll be watching out for that. And lastly, before we wrap up, Rachita, what should one expect from the coming quarters when it comes to Reliance Industries? Any color on how the coming quarters will pan out from the management when they had a phone call yesterday?
So, Nandita, Reliance typically doesn't really give guidance per se, on their own performance. But the interesting thing that the management shared yesterday was, their CFO, Shrikant, kind of cautioned about oil prices going ahead. Reason being that, the OPEC voluntary production cut has already kicked in, and they expect that this would keep the prices high and could impact global demand. The other thing, of course, is that we are looking at a high inflation scenario. Global demand continue to be a little muted, and there are expectations that China might increase supplies in the market. So this, they believe, could have an impact on the exports from India. Having said that, they came across as being very confident about the domestic demand in India. So that would be a strong spot for them, the way things are going. The other thing, besides the macros, was that they spoke about their capex, which the capex, they said, is on track, and in terms of financing it, they've been doing it a lot from their internal accrual. So if you look at this quarter, their net debt is almost flat, and despite a significant capex happening. So basically, between their balance sheet and the cash flows they're getting, they're quite strong that they'll be able to finance their capex and be on track on that front going ahead. Nandita.
All right. Well, that was all about the Reliance Industries, the quarterly performance. Rachita, thanks a lot for putting things into perspective for us. But of course, we'll have to wait and watch for, of course, the brokerage reports on Reliance, and of course, the stock will be reacting to the numbers as well. And of course, it's going to be another earnings heavy week for us. Lots of earnings to digest in the coming week as well. With that, Rachita, thanks a lot for joining in and putting things into
Thank
perspective
you.
for us. And for all our viewers, thanks a lot for tuning in. But we'll be back with the markets on Monday morning. But over the weekend, stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and financial updates as well. Thanks a lot for watching.